Hello and welcome to this A2 Elementary Lesson 28 with me, Kate. Today we are going to be looking at past simple, regular and irregular verbs. Okay, so we're going to now look at some verbs. Just to recap, these are verbs you already know. Listen and repeat. Live, lived. Love, loved. Finish, finished. Start, started. Work, worked. Invent, invented. Okay, and here we have a picture of Tim Berners-Lee. An ordinary life, an amazing idea. Do you have any idea what Tim Berners-Lee invented? Today we are going to find out more about Tim Berners-Lee. Before we do, I want to introduce some new vocabulary. Listen and repeat. Surprising, surprising. To be linked, to be linked. To graduate, to graduate. Network, network. To become more interested in, to become more interested in. To decide, to decide. Okay, so we are going to read, listen and follow an article about Tim Berners-Lee in a moment. As I read that, I want you to make a note of this information. What was his important idea? What was his place of birth? What place or places did he study? What place or places did he work? Any other personal details? And where does he now live? Okay, are you ready? I want you to listen and follow. An ordinary life, an amazing idea. Tim Berners-Lee looks very ordinary. He's about 70 years old and has brown hair. He was born in England, but now lives in Massachusetts in the USA. But in 1989, Tim had a very important idea. He invented the World Wide Web, WWW. Tim went to school in London. Both his parents worked with computers, so it isn't surprising that he loved computers from an early age. When he was 18, he left school and went to Oxford University, where he studied physics. At Oxford, he became more and more interested in computers, and he made his first computer from an old television. He graduated in 1976 and got a job with a computer company in Dorset, England. In 1989, he went to work in Switzerland, where he first had the idea of an international information network linked by computer. He decided to call it the World Wide Web, and he also decided to make his ideas free to everyone. That is why today we do not pay to use the internet. In 1994, he went to live in the United States, where he now works. In 1995, he wrote an article in the New York Times where he said, "The web is a universe of information and it is for everyone." Today, his idea of a web where people from all over the world can exchange information is real. Okay, so let's go back to our fact file. If you need to, you can pause the video. What was his important idea? Where was his place of birth? Where did he study? Where did he work? What other personal details can you tell me? And where does he now live? If you need to, pause the video and restart it when you're ready. Okay, so what was his important idea? He invented the World Wide Web. Where was his place of birth? He was born in England. Where did he study? He studied in London and Oxford. Where did he work? He worked in Dorset in the UK, in England, and then he worked in Switzerland, and now he works in the USA. Can you tell me any other personal details about Tim Berners-Lee? He's about 70 with brown hair. And where does he now live? Now he lives in Massachusetts in the USA. Fantastic, well done. Okay, in this text we have information about Tim's life now, and we have information about Tim's life in the past. I want you to find some information about Tim's life now and about Tim's life in the past. If you need to, pause the video and restart it when you're ready. Okay, so let's think about Tim's life now. Tim Berners-Lee looks ordinary. He's about 70 years old. He has brown hair. This is all about Tim's life now, and so we use the present simple. But if we're talking about Tim's life in the past, we need to use the past simple. What can you tell me about Tim's life in the past? Tim had a very important idea. He invented the World Wide Web. Tim went to school in London. Both his parents worked with computers. He loved computers. So you can see here I've highlighted the verbs to do with the past in red. Had, invented, went, worked, and loved. And we're going to look at these verbs and more in a bit more detail now. Let's go back to the text. What other past tense verbs can you find? If you need to, pause the video and restart it when you're ready. So what other past tense verbs can you find? We have invented, went, worked, loved, left, went, studied, became, made, graduated, got, went, had, decided, went, wrote, and said. I've highlighted some of these verbs in green and some in red. What's the difference? Well, the past tense verbs in green are regular. Let's recap those. We have invented, loved, worked, studied, graduated, decided. The past tense verbs in red are irregular. Let's recap those. We have left, went, became, made, got, had, went, wrote, and said. Right, let's recap what we know about regular verbs first. So here are some examples of really straightforward past simple regular verbs. I worked, you wanted, he finished, she watched, it played, we worked, they listened. This is really straightforward. For these regular verbs, we simply add ed, and each verb is the same for every subject. It doesn't change. Okay, we have some variations. Other spelling rules for regular verbs. If the verb ends already in e, like live, we simply add a d. For example, she lived in France. If the verb ends in a consonant, vowel, consonant, for example, stop, we double the final consonant. So stop becomes stopped. He stopped work at 5:30. If the verb ends in a consonant plus y, like in the word study, we change the y to IED. I studied economics. So there we have our rules for our regular verbs. Now, in English, there are a lot of irregular verbs, and I have a list of them here. You can find this on my website, www.professordongley.fr/resources, and you'll find a printable copy of this worksheet. You can see here we have the verbs in its infinitive form, followed by its past simple form. So there are many common verbs that have an irregular past form. Go is went, have, had, meet, met, know, and knew. The good news is that each past simple form is the same for all subjects. The bad news is you just need to learn them. There are no rules. Okay. So let's have a little practice. If you want to pause the video and find that worksheet on my website, that's a good idea. We have some prompts here. I want you to use the prompts to make sentences about Tim Berners-Lee. For example, born England. He was born in England. Here are the rest of the prompts. We've got go to school, London. When 18, go to Oxford University. At university, become interested in computers. Make his first computer from a television. Graduate 1976. Get a job, computer company, England. And go Switzerland 1989. I want you to use those prompts to make sentences about Tim Berners-Lee. If you need to, pause the video, and when you're ready, restart. Okay, let's have a look at B. Go to school, London. He went to school in London. He went to school in London. C. When 18, go to Oxford University. When he was 18, he went to Oxford University. When he was 18, he went to Oxford University. D. At university, become interested in computers. At university, he became interested in computers. At university, he became interested in computers. E. Make his first computer from a television. He made his first computer from a television. He made his first computer from a television. F. Graduate, 1976. He graduated in 1976. He graduated in 1976. G. Get a job, computer company, England. He got a job with a computer company in England. He got a job with a computer company in England. And H. Go, Switzerland, 1989. He went to Switzerland in 1989. He went to Switzerland in 1989. Fantastic. Well done. That's it for today. I would like you to tell me 4 things you remember about Tim's life. Leave them in the comments below. Please don't forget to subscribe to show your support. And coming next, lesson 29, we will be looking at dates and other past time phrases. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.